Hello, everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I'm your host, as always, Richard Tiemann, and this is the award-winning fan show. That's right, everyone's a fan of something, and we have got something for every fan, and I'd like to welcome you all to episode 475. We've got a great special guest for you, got a great lineup of things to discuss and talk about. You may notice that we will be missing a segment. Our good friend Matt Carwick, the fat bearded vinyl guy, was unable to get us his spin this week because unfortunately he had to put down his cat Chewy. So our thoughts and prayers and well wishes are with Matt Carwick and his family, and we certainly hope to have him back sooner than later. But Matt, hey, if you're watching this, my friend, take all the time you need. I completely understand. You know, pets are family too. So, that being said, welcome once again. Episode 475 has a great special guest. As I mentioned, we continue to do our check-ins with the coaches of the Indoor Football League. And today, making his debut on the fan show is the head coach of the Bismarck Bucks, Rod Miller. Had a great conversation. I'm in much better spirits as far as fan versus fan show because I finally got one in the win column against Coach Corey Ross. Sorry, Coach, it had to be somebody, and it came down to the wire. I picked the Titans, he picked the Bills, otherwise we were tied up, and man, what a thrilling game that was last night. But we will talk about that and more. So without further ado, here is today's headlines. Headlines are brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises. They can customize your world and do so in a number of ways. Everything from stickers, polos, hats, beanies, shirts, jerseys, tablecloths, backdrops, awards, and trophies. You name it, they could probably customize it for you. So hit them up, dynamiteenterprises.com, see their full catalog, or if you know what you want and you need a quote or maybe have some questions, Ethan at dynamiteenterprises.com is his email address to speak to the man himself. And of course, if you'd really like to see a great variety of what all they can do and have done, check out their Instagram, Dynamite Enterprises. Once again, Dynamite Enterprises, customize your world. All right, Week 5 is in the books. We learned a lot from Week 5. I feel like we learned more from Week 5 than Week 4. So Week 5, we are officially over the quarter of the season mark, right? 5 games under most teams' belts. There were some that, due to COVID or scheduling, had a bye week, but here we are, Week 6. But what did we learn from Week 5? Well, we learned that Dak may be more important to the Cowboys than we wanted to give him credit for. Broke his ankle, had a successful surgery, and now we are wishing Dak Prescott a speedy recovery. He was having a great season. It's the Cowboys as a whole. There are 53 men on a roster, 11 guys on either side at any point in time during the game. He's only one man, and I know a lot of blame tends to go to the quarterback or head coach, but I feel Dak was the butt of some criticism that was unnecessary. But anyway, he'll have some time off to kind of evaluate himself and think about it. And what better way to come back than to have comeback player of the year and maybe even MVP. Some thought he was in that conversation despite the Cowboys' not so great record. Speaking of comeback, though, Alex Smith. You remember mentioning his name from a few weeks back, before the season started. Well, that time has come. Alex Smith took his first NFL regular season snaps since November 2018. I say again, November 2018. An injury some thought to be impossible to ever come back from. It ended Joe Theismann's career, and eerily similar to that whole situation. The same spot on the field, yard line wise, the same leg, same kind of game situation. Pretty fitting for the month of October. Very eerie, very similar. But Alex Smith has come back. I think he had some 14 surgeries. Wow. Took his snaps, took some sacks, but Alex Smith is officially your comeback player of the year. I know that the award hasn't been given out just yet, but I think we can all agree that if you come back from an injury that nobody thought could be come back from, then that you deserve to be the comeback player of the year. So congratulations, Alex Smith. It was a beautiful sight to see him take the field once again, his family in attendance, and so hoping to see more from Alex Smith and the Washington football team. The Cleveland Browns won again. They defeated the Indianapolis Colts. So Brian Schmidt, if you're watching, told you so. They do have a good matchup coming up this week. They will take on Coach Schmidt's Pittsburgh Steelers, and I have my prediction for that game later on. The Chiefs can be beaten, and you should never underestimate a rivalry game. The Raiders did the unthinkable. Kansas City now has one in the loss column. Wow, what a game. I mean, it really came down to the final seconds. If you weren't watching this game because you thought the Chiefs were going to run over them, you missed what might be the game of the year, in all honesty. And how crazy is that? But the Raiders did it. Gruden and his Gruden Grinders took it to the Chiefs and came out with a win in Arrowhead Stadium. Crazy. How crazy is that? Le'Veon Bell has been released by the New York Jets. Adam Gase is still the head coach. I say again, Le'Veon Bell has been released by the New York Jets. Adam Gase, still the head coach. I thought Gase needed to win this game because it was a very winnable game for the Jets, and they couldn't do it, but somehow Gase is still there. Dan Quinn, best of luck on your future endeavors. The Falcons have parted ways with the head coach that took them to the Super Bowl, but couldn't get the job done there. It's a Super Bowl that I'm sure, despite the appearance, they'd probably like to forget sooner than later. So Dan Quinn out, Bill O'Brien out, Adam Gase still in. Le'Veon Bell, though, now out. Not sure how that works, but Jets fans are kicking themselves and wondering, what is going on here? I don't know what to tell you. I do believe, though, that Gase is next. If the Jets go 0-6 after a move like the Le'Veon Bell release, it's got to be Gase that's next, right? Right? I don't know. I don't really think there's anybody else on the hot seat, though, in all honesty. If you look around the rest of the league, Bill O'Brien needed to go. Dan Quinn probably right around there needed to go, which is so odd. Just you look at his time with the Falcons and everything, and you're just like, wow, man, it really could have gone either way. Gase needs to go. And I think that about sums it up. I think Anthony Lynn and the Chargers are doing just fine. Herbert, man, how fun is he to watch? He took it to Breeze and the Saints in New Orleans, and it came down to a kicker with his own trademarked nickname, which kickers should have to earn nicknames. And if your nickname that you've trademarked is Money Badger, I would advise against doinking a 50-yard potential game winner as time expires. But hey, that's just me, right? Kickers need love too, but you also got to earn your nickname, okay? Kicker friends, can we all agree on that? The NFC and the AFC, though, a lot more competitive and evenly matched than I thought. I figured all the strength lied in the NFC, but thanks to our friends at Legacy Maker Sports Network, here's some graphics to show you the standings. We have, 7 or 8 teams from both the NFC and the AFC that are above 500. And then if you count New England, who had a bye at 2-2, they are very evenly matched. You look at some of these divisions, they're stacked. Some of them not so much, NFC East. But at this point in the season, there's really no clear-cut leader from either conference as far as who is going to be that team to beat, especially after the Chiefs have been beaten, and now the Bills have been beaten. The Titans, though, I knew it. Titans came out swinging. A special Tuesday night game last night did not disappoint. Mark Henry single-handedly sending Josh Norman back to the practice squad. When are people going to learn that you just can't tackle Derrick Henry? Just stop it. Stop it. So, last but not least, with Quinn gone, that means that the defensive coordinator, Morris, will now step in as the interim head coach. And so, naturally, I picked the Falcons to win this week. And we'll talk about that a little later. And real quick, congratulations to the Los Angeles Lakers for winning their 17th NBA championship. A season that a lot of people thought was a lost cause, finished in a bubble, a revolutionary idea. And so here we are, crowning yet another champion in a year where it seemed all but lost. And I gotta say, I kind of felt like this championship and the NHL one needed to have an asterisk, but given the circumstances and everything that they were able to accomplish and do with that bubble and just seeing it through to the end, they deserve this championship just as much as anybody else. So again, congratulations to LeBron and the Lakers for winning the 2019-2020 NBA Finals championship. As far as Netflix and other things that you can watch now that other sports have concluded, and if you're not the biggest football fan, or maybe you're waiting for other things to start up or get back to normal, Netflix, it is October, so a lot of scary movies and Halloween-themed stuff. The Haunting of Bly Manor, my wife and I just finished that, thought it was very well done. And then Hubie Halloween, the newest Adam Sandler addition to the Netflix cinematic universe, is also available. Some people love it, some people hate it. I guess it just depends on if you're an Adam Sandler fan. But if you're not up for my recommendations or don't feel like I know anything about what I'm talking about, then take it from my friends Matt and Mike, the Real Film Nerds, for this week's Real Film Recommendation.
How's it going, Fan Nation? Matt and Mike from the Real Film Nerds podcast, back again to break you away from the fan show. Today we continue our Harvest Horror Fest 2020 with our second episode in the series, Friday the 13th, my favorite summer slasher flick. Mike, tell us what it's all about.
All right. Friday the 13th was directed by Sean Cunningham, written by Victor Miller and Vaughn Kurtz. It's starring Betsy Palmer and Kevin Bacon. And like you said, Matt, summer slasher. This one's fun. This started so many sequels. And the funny thing is, Jason's not even in this one.
I had that discussion today on the radio.
Yeah,
but I like this one a lot, man. This I'm not a huge horror movie buff, but slashers are always fun because they're so over the top and they're just gruesome and gory and bloody, and I love it. I think if you've not seen this one, you should watch it for sure. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, definitely go see it. You got to see what all the hype's about.
Everybody loves Jason. So, all right, Mike. Well, anything else you want to add other than next week we continue our Harvest Horror Fest with a review of another horror film, but it's more of a comedy. It's a comedy horror film. It's a combination of a bunch. It is The Lost Boys, starring Kiefer Sutherland.
Yes. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch with the Coreys in it and just all the 80s nostalgia. I'm excited.
It's going to be a good one. So make sure and check that out. That is Real Film Nerds episode number 193 next week. It'll be our Harvest Horror Fest edition 3, episode 3. So anyways, thanks again, Richard, for letting us break in and inform your viewers of our fun film reviews. Take it easy.
Thanks again, guys, for the great recommendation. Don't forget to give their podcast a like, listen, and subscribe to it if you can. Always great breakdowns of movies that we're pretty familiar with, and even some that are maybe a bit under the radar. So give them a like and a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, my friend Steve Potter has been working tirelessly on a documentary telling the behind-the-scenes tale of the Alliance of American Football. It's called Alliance is Broken. He just dropped the first trailer, and now he's marketing it to see, who and where it's going to get picked up to show the full-on premiere. There will be a premiere that he's doing with his close friends and family in New Jersey, but man, this trailer gave me chills. You guys can see the link on social media. I shared it from the Fan Show's Facebook page, so go and check it out. And Steve is phenomenal at what he does. Full Sail alumni. He asked me to help him out a little bit with this very small part, so I don't want to take any credit for anything at this thing's success. It's his baby. He's been working with a friend of his, but man, the trailer, if that's any indication of the actual feature film of this documentary, it's going to be phenomenal. So check out Alliance is Broken, and make sure that you're staying tuned and watching for updates on when you can watch the full feature-length documentary of the Alliance of American Football. Also, I wanted to give a quick shout out to my friend Randy Jose Beidelschies. Man, he never gave up. He never doubted. He didn't let the negativity get to him. He is officially signed with the Wyoming Mustangs, one of the newest members of the Champions Indoor Football League. I wish him nothing but the best, and I'm glad that I could help out in any way that I could. I can promote people till I'm blue in the face and give them the best word-of-mouth recommendation to the people that I know that can help put them in the ear of the decision makers. But really beyond that, it's about their film, their character, their attitude, and just their body of work. And I feel like he checked all those boxes, so I believe, honestly, he will make the most of this opportunity. So congratulations again, Randy. It's been incredible to get to know you. I can't wait to see this next chapter of your journey. This week in Fan Show history, some changes were happening in my life a year ago that would eventually lead us to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It was also covering Eastern games and really just getting into the rhythm of the NFL season like we had for the last 5 years. Something about covering the IFL as opposed to the NFL, though. I mean, everybody covers the NFL. It's a lot of fun, too. We have a lot of fun with it here on the show, but I'm still counting down the days to the IFL regular season, which that schedule, rumor is, should be released in the next couple of weeks. I believe there's still a couple of announcements as far as expansion teams added to the mix, which, if my numbers are right, it would be a 13th and 14th team, which is one more than they were supposed to have in 2020. One is said to be the San Antonio Valor, based on a press release that they had last week saying that they will announce their official expansion and into what league that is on October 20th. And then I heard another rumor that Ontario is a go. The Bandits, I guess, is the name. So more on that, and we'll have official word when that announcement is made. And then the schedule to be released probably shortly after those announcements. Just like last year, we were waiting on the Frisco Fighters, but I think they've been a great addition, and they haven't even played it down yet. So hopefully that all changes in 2021. That brings us to our special guest segment of the week. And of course, every guest here on the Fan Show is an all-star in their own right. And that's why the special guest interview segment is proudly sponsored by All-Star Bass Fishing. Once again, Bobby Brown and the folks at All-Star doing great things over in the Pacific Northwest and really changing the game when it comes to professional, competitive bass fishing. So make sure that you're getting out there while the weather is still good, and make it an all-star weekend. So, without further ado, here we go. The debut of Coach Rod Miller of the Bismarck Bucks. Enjoy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me this week, another special guest here on the Fan Show, making his Fan Show debut, the head coach of the Bismarck Bucks, Rod Miller. How you doing, Coach? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I feel like a celebrity now, finally on the who's who of coaches shows. I feel good today.
Well, I certainly appreciate the enthusiasm. I know that this year has been crazy for everybody, you especially, because, you know, the Bucks, there's so much potential, I feel there. I know friends of mine that have signed with them that speak very highly about the team. They said, you know, our record really wasn't who we were last season in 2019. And our coach, he's been around the block. He knows his stuff. He's got a plan. We just need to execute. And there were so many close ones with you guys. You actually got to see some playing time, some action, one of only 2 games that got played. Right. Such a great game, heartbreaking loss for you guys, but obviously that was supposed to be your second go at head coach of the Bucks. What are your takeaways right now, and what's been your focus?
You know, our focus is getting the team where we needed to be. You know, when I took this position, you know, I put a 3-year plan into place. You know, in the first year, you're going to take your bumps, your bruises, you take your loss, because that's what a rebuild does when you start from scratch. You know, and that's what we did, and so we took that. So I was excited going into the second year to try to build off of what we had. Some good things that we had in place for the guys. And so it was very, you know, unfortunate that the season ended, but we were fortunate that we were able to play 1 game. So like they say, things change when you get live bullets flying. So I was just able to get a chance to some of the guys that we needed to evaluate, to get a good evaluation based off of live game, you know, footage there. And that would help us go into the off season, so say, to determine where we need to go and where we need to get better at. So that helped us tremendously, in getting that job done.
You know, one thing that people don't realize about the Indoor Football League is that your off season is an incredibly short one. You have a training camp where you have to basically trim the fat, and you really have to know kind of an idea of the direction you want to go, your playbook, and the personnel that you want to have on the field come game one. Now, you guys saw action, as I mentioned, but with the NFL, they didn't have a preseason this year, and so I feel like some of you guys in the IFL are just like, now you know how it feels, you know, to have that, you know, no dress rehearsal, and now it's showtime, and there's been a lot of surprises. I think, obviously, not, you know, saying that injuries are the big surprise, but I think some players that have really stood out. For you, game one and your experience in the indoor game, you know, what kind of surprises did you see from game one?
You know, there were some guys actually I thought played, you know, a little better than I thought they would. You know, being rookies and you come out your first game, you really don't know what to expect because, you know, especially for us, you know, we didn't really get a chance to practice inside an arena. So when you're practicing in a dome where you don't have walls up, you have that false misconception of the size of the field, and you don't have that feel of, you know, these walls can hurt if you run into them because you run, you know, out of bounds through cones an extra 10 yards. So it made a big difference. So I think those guys adjusted well. I thought they came out and especially defensively played, you know, physical football. And, you know, we got the first year, in 19, I don't think we had one or two any interceptions. And last year, one game, we had 2 interceptions off the bat. So that was a good prospect for that. You know, offensively, we had some things in place. I mean, if we complete, you know, 2 of the 4 open touchdown passes that we missed, that game could have turned out differently. But, you know, that's just the way the ball falls and the cookie crumbles. But, you know, we got some things to build off of. And I think that we have some guys that we're going to bring back, some guys that we're going to add to that mix that can make that better so we can be a surprise team coming up in 2021.
Now, with the NFL, the special teams aspect of the game is really kind of a dying art as far as kickoffs, punts, even field goal attempts. You know, they're always trying to do things to kind of change it up to make it more entertaining. That has not been lost at the indoor level. In fact, it's one of the more exciting portions of the game. And in that first weekend, both in the Cedar Rapids and Quad City game as well as yours, we saw, you know, how quickly it can change the momentum of a game. In your mind, how overlooked is special teams and how really important is it to the game of indoor football?
You know, special teams is important at any level, especially in an indoor game. Like I tell our guys, special teams is 33% of the game. You know, it's 33% offense, defense, 33% special teams, and 1% luck. And, you know, and that luck is 4 plays that can happen during the game. So we have to take that seriously. I mean, we work on special teams. You know, it didn't look like it, but we work on special teams every day. I mean, we do in our kicking every day. That's always important. Your PAT short field goal kicking. Then we work an element of special teams every day. So that is something that, you know, we have to emphasize and we're actually going to do more of just because it's that more important, you know, and some teams do put more emphasis, some don't. So we just want to make sure that we do our due diligence, do our emphasis so that we can put ourselves in a position to get some of those 1% luck plays that happens in the game.
Now, one of my good friends, your guys' kicker, Cody Barber, who's played for, you know, several different teams throughout the indoor level, and I know his biggest irritation has got to be scoreboards because no two venues are alike when it comes to, you know, what your path to the goalposts look like. Right. For you as a coach, though, you know, how much do those smaller aspects have to play into your overall game plan or even, you know, whether or not it's this play call or this play call in an actual game?
You know, you think about that depending if you're backed up, you know, what kind of kick you're able to make a kick. You know, and for me, that's one of the reasons why I prefer veteran kickers because they understand the dynamics of it as compared to a rookie kicker. They know you're going to have to adjust the height thing. So a veteran kicker, you'll see they're out there, they're looking, learning early. You know, I'll talk to Cody. He feels what his range could be based off of what, you know, the scoreboard is, the dynamics of that. So those things do come into play. And, you know, unfortunately, sometimes you get put in a situation where you get backed up and you have to kick when you really don't want to because you didn't get a first down. So that happens. But, you know, we do kind of game plan off of that, kind of figuring, you know, what his range would be. And, you know, I have no problem in pulling the trigger because Cody can make those kicks. So I have confidence in Cody, and that's why he's here because that does give you a comfort level when you have a guy that understands the angles and the scoreboard heights and adjustments and knows how to practice for that in his warm-ups to be ready for a game time.
Yeah, as we say around here at the Fan Show, kickers need love too, and I know that he appreciates the love and support that we try to give kickers here on the show because, like I said, it's a very important part of the indoor game that I think a lot of people overlook. So I heard that the schedule is apparently supposed to be out soon, and we've got some new faces to the league, going coast to coast now, Spokane, Massachusetts, rumors of maybe California, and then maybe even another team down in Texas. For you, being your second year in, of course, you had several teams to game plan for prior, and the schedule was there wasn't a whole lot of long trips for you. This one, there could be some really long trips for you guys as far as away games. What does that change for you as a coach?
The dynamics of that is having those long games. For one, you're flying instead of taking a bus, so sometimes that could be a little perk for the guys to get a chance to fly and go. But it's a matter of the game plan and where you're playing and the day of the week that you play. Hopefully you don't have a short turnaround where you have to play, a Saturday or Sunday game. You got to fly out and play a game on, a Thursday or Friday. Hope it doesn't match up like that. Those are things sometimes that makes it a little tough because it said travel does wear on you, and when you have to go to the airport and a couple hours earlier than layovers and things like that. So, we're prepared either way, but, it's football. I mean, you go and you're in college and in pro, you're going to travel. So you have to be prepared for that. It's just part of the game and nature of the business. So, you can't get around a season without traveling. So you just got used to it. You just can't make excuses. If you're going to make that an excuse, well, hell, you're not going to win any games because you're worried about where you got to go play. It's not a matter of that. It's, you can play whoever you got to play, wherever you got to play. It doesn't matter. And that's how we're going to take that approach.
Certainly some exciting potential matchups. I know that you guys up in Bismarck have some rivalries you're looking to, continue as the season approaches closer and closer. And again, I've heard that schedule should be out, but we all know that should be and will be and could be are all very different things at this level. So with the offseason, we've seen a lot of movement. The quarterback position is one. Quad City's longtime quarterback Hilliard is now going to go reside in Tucson. As a result, DeQuan Neal, the reigning MVP, is going to go back to Iowa. Never took a snap for the Sugar Skulls. But always a lot of movement, some big surprises, some that you maybe would have expected, especially with teams popping up in different areas that might appeal more to a player. For you guys in Bismarck, you and I have talked about this before, the difficulty of trying to recruit somebody when there's not any kind of incentive beyond, development of a player or, where that market is. So what's your sales pitch, so to speak, to players, either rookies or free agents, that you really want to have as part of your squad?
Well, I tell guys, we're trying to build, a culture here and an atmosphere to go play. And like I tell anybody, I've never seen in all my years a city yet won a championship. It's not the city that wins the championship. It's the players on that team that represent that city to win the championship. So, I coach early in my career, I coached in Green Bay. Green Bay has a legacy in NFL football. It's not the biggest city. It's probably the smallest city in NFL, but it's just a culture that you want to build. So that's what I tell guys here. And I ask people a question, if you ask them, if you look at college football, this is, for example, what is the most successful, college football team in the last 10 years? Most people are quick to say Alabama or Clemson. Well, it's not correct. North Dakota State, they're a different level, but they've won the most championships of anybody in the last 10 years. But there's a reason why, it's not Florida, it's not Texas, it's not California, it's not Arizona. It's just a place where they have a good culture, where guys come to have a winning atmosphere. And that turns into, when we can build that, then players want to come. And that's what we're trying to build. Some guys to come be a part of something special, be at the beginning stages of building that. So, that's been, my recruiting tool, plus being a veteran for a while, I do know some players, and, players build trust, especially at this level. It's about guys trust you and feel that you put them in good positions. Because like I said, they don't make a lot of money, at this level. So it's about doing the couple of things correct that you can do. I'm a firm believer, and I say this to anybody, at this level, if a guy does not have to worry about where he lays his head at night and knows he has a good place to sleep, if a guy knows that he's going to have food to put in his stomach with good meals, if a guy knows that his paycheck is going to be on time every week when it's supposed to be, guys will run through a wall for you. So that's what I base my beliefs on and my recruiting on. And, we get guys that want to be here. Some guys, they want the party atmosphere. That's on them. That's not what we want anyway. We want guys that want to come play, be part of something special. And if you want to do that, then, we'll gladly take you here.
Yeah, prior to Arizona joining the league, you look back at the history of indoor, not just the indoor football league, but as a whole, championships were being won in cities like Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Billings, Montana, Sioux City. And then, of course, you have the long history of the Iowa Barnstormers. The championship is finally, out of Des Moines, Iowa. And then, of course, Phoenix, Arizona with the Arizona Rattlers. So it's not the markets that you would think, but I do get it when a player says that they're looking for a new home, and I kind of tell them, where are you at in your career? Because if you're chasing the championship, I understand the appeal of an Arizona or a Sioux Falls or a Spokane or something like that. But look, one player can make a huge impact, and if you're a guy that still wants to have a chance at that next level, you need to go somewhere that you're going to play every down and that you can ball out every down. And that might be a Bismarck. That could be a Cedar Rapids. That could be one of these, kind of under the radar teams that you don't even realize could be the best choice you ever made as far as a team. What are the conversations like that you have with free agents that have been in the game for a while? I assume that you probably have a pretty good relationship with some of them, but I mean, to recruit them to Bismarck to be that guy for the Bucks, whether it's a quarterback or a wide receiver or a defensive back, how does this phone call go for you?
It's a basic call of a conversation, introducing myself. Also have a packet that we send out to everyone that we're interested in that kind of explains, what we're doing here, what we're about, and then what our goals are, So, and it's one thing, I've been in this business a long time, and it happens. One thing I've never been guilty of, I do not negative recruit. I don't talk down on any organization, on any coach, because everybody has their own way of doing things, and some of these teams, that you want to be. We want to be like the Arizona Rattlers. We want to be like Sioux Falls. We want to be like when I was in AFL Philadelphia. So we want to be those type of organizations. So I never talk down on any organization, any coach, because everybody does things differently. So I just tell guys, it's an opportunity to come here and be able to make your mark and help build something special, be a part of something from the beginning, and you have different ways you want to approach it, and everybody's different. You have, for instance, I'll talk about the Lakers just won with LeBron James. He was in Cleveland for a long time, didn't have success. He went to Miami, got some success, but you know what? He went back somewhere else where he started, Cleveland, said, let me try to do it here again. So I tell guys, yes, you may have played in the other, other teams, other cities, but come on back here, come on to Bismarck, and let's see if we can build something special here with you being involved. So that's just how I approach it. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. That just happens. But, we're going to win some with the guys that are here, and then the guys that choose to go elsewhere, we'll play them down the road, and hopefully, like I said, we'll make them see why they should have came.
Yeah, it's been a long off season, to say the very least, and I know that you guys actually got playing time, so good for you. I talked to Coach Ross at Quad City, last week about how that felt to actually get a little bit of playing time, and he said he wanted more, obviously, and so now some things have changed, and some players that maybe wanted one more year, maybe their thought process is a little different now, but so much has changed and will continue to change. I just hope that we have a full, uninterrupted IFL season for 2021, and it certainly looks that way, especially if the schedule is just about done. So we cross our fingers and, we say our prayers and hope that everything works out. But, Coach, I'm really excited for what you guys are building up there in Bismarck. And now comes the portion of the show where I actually have one in the win column now. Sorry, Coach Ross, but somebody had to be it, and it was you. So we have our favorite segment for this week anyway, called Fan versus Fan Show. I give you the 6 best games of the week. You pick your 3 guaranteed winners. I pick my 3 guaranteed winners, and we see who comes out on top after this week 6 of NFL action. I gave you the 6 games. Do you have your winners?
Yes, I do. The first one, I'm going to take the Packers over the Bucks.
Ooh.
I like that one.
All righty.
I think I'm going to take the Chiefs over the Bills. The Chiefs are going to bounce back in a big way. I'm going to take the Chiefs over the Bills.
Okay.
And I'm going to take, I think the Bears are going to be too much for the Panthers. So I'm going to take the Bears over the Panthers. Those will be my 3 for sure.
All right, so 3 road teams, 3 road victories, Bears, Packers, and Chiefs. Oh, boy. So, and we had 6 really good games. There's the Rams, 49ers, Browns, Steelers, and Cardinals and Cowboys. I really am sort of torn on this one, so I am going to actually let it ride and pick the Bills for a second week over the Chiefs. At home, I think the Bills, tough game against the Titans, but obviously they can both be beat. But the Titans, I think, were a better team than the Raiders are, can never underestimate rivalry teams, so we'll see. This is an important game, though, when you look at the big picture of everything.
Right.
And then, let's see, I am going to go with the Steelers over the Browns. I've been riding high on the Browns lately, but I think, when it comes to rivalries, you can never underestimate them, and I think the Steelers have a point to prove.
Okay.
And then finally, I am going to go with an Andy Dalton-led Cowboys over the Arizona Cardinals. I know it was tragic what happened to Dak, and I feel like they're kind of playing for him from here on out. So Andy Dalton, Mike McCarthy, who knows what the potential is there, but I like the allure of this matchup. I can't believe I'm saying I'm feeling the Cowboys this week, but those are my 3 picks. So I avoided my own 49ers, but let's face it, after they got thumped by the Dolphins last week, I'm not feeling too good about any matchup with them.
And I'll make a confession with you, just like you. I'm an old school diehard 49ers fan. I can't touch them after last week. I don't know what to expect. I'll be probably the same way. I don't know what to expect. That team that showed up, I have no clue who they were. Garoppolo, I don't know what he was thinking. So I can't touch that game. I'm just like you. I'll pass on that one too.
Yeah, it's better to just avoid it than pick it and have even more disappointment added onto it if it should be a loss. So, okay, those are our games. I wish you the best of luck, Coach, and thanks for playing along with me. And also, thank you so much for your time. It's been great to catch up with all you coaches from the IFL as we get closer and closer to the season. So, again, I look forward to what you guys are brewing up in Bismarck and look forward to a very competitive 2021.
I appreciate it, and I thank you for having us on and things like this as well. That helps us as well. They're getting our name out there. So I appreciate you for what you do. You're a diehard as well, so you've been in this thing a long time. So I have a true love and appreciate diehards who have a passion for this game and what we do, and you certainly do. So I can definitely tell you from our aspect, we respect what you do and thank you for what you do to help us with this league.
I appreciate that, Coach. And once again, folks, he is Coach Rod Miller of the Bismarck Bucks coming to you in action 2021. We hope, again, fingers crossed, say your prayers. But, Coach, thank you again so much for your time. You take care of yourself.
Thank you. You too, buddy. Have a good one.
Thanks again, Coach Miller, for making your debut on the show. I know it was long overdue, but we're happy to have you added to our Fan Show alumni, and I've really enjoyed getting to know some of these coaches as we continue our countdown to the Indoor Football League season 2021. We're hoping to have action. Looks like there's a lot of stuff in the works, some changes coming still, things that need to be worked on, and some contingencies, but I have all the faith in the world that we will see IFL action for 2021. Projected to start March, could go into August based on what I've been hearing. So that sounds like a whole lot of fun, really. Anyway, that will do it for episode 475 of The Fan Show. Make sure, once again, that if you can't watch the premieres of new episodes on Facebook or The Fan Show's YouTube channel, that you have subscribed to the podcast form, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Spreaker.com. Give us a like on Facebook, a follow on Instagram, and a follow on Twitter as well. And that'll do it. So remember, it's not official unless it's Fan Show official, and we are officially out of here. So until next time, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.